Hi, Robert. It's so nice to have you on the show. How are you doing today?
Fantastic, fantastic. How are you today?
Beautiful. I'm doing fine, fine, fine. Thank you, man. And Robert, it's so nice to have you on the show. And I am quite excited to have you on the show for some reasons. Firstly, my interest in knowledge seeking, because I believe in order to transition from a chaotic situation to that of a beautiful one, I believe it takes the application of knowledge, quality information. And you see, Robert, ever since I discovered that light in the Hebrew means knowledge and darkness means ignorance, I've been so keen to knowledge seeking. Why? Because I just don't want to remain in the dark. And that's going to make our conversation here today very, very important to me and even to the listeners. The second reason why I'm excited to have Robert on the show is for the sake of the listeners. Robert, we live in an age where information is as abundant as grains of sand. Lots of information flying out there. So these folks trust me for quality information. And that's why when I was reading your bio and all, I was impressed and excited because I believe our conversation is going to be insightful. So for that reason, Robert, let's get started with your introduction. Talk to us about your personal or professional journey. We're just so curious. We want to know how you got here. And afterwards, I've gotten some beautiful questions for you. Okay, Robert, over to you.
Well, how I got to where I am today was through running peer groups for business owners. So the idea of it, we bring business owners together every month for a private meeting, and we talk about whatever our challenges are, whatever things we're working on as business owners. And I learned over the years of watching these leaders, some who did a great job owning the journey they were on, and others who did not. And the ones who owned it were the ones who were successful, the ones who looked at the challenges and faced them head on. And we talk about this idea of ownership is the idea of accountability. The simplest definition of accountability is you own it. And in your life, your personal and your professional life, you can either stay as a victim where everything happens to you, or you can move into a world where you own it and you take control over everything that comes your way. Not that you caused it and not that it's your fault and not that you can necessarily prevent the things that happen to you, but that when it does happen, you own it. And also own the opportunity, the responsibility. I'm a parent, I'm a husband, I'm a business owner, I'm a friend. And all those things have responsibilities for me to do. So I proactively am creating the results I want. And so that too is accountability, that instead of just waiting for things to happen, I look at my life and I say, what do I want it to look like? What do I want my business to look like and my marriage to look like? And then I work towards that. I own it. I make plans towards it and I get it done. And that's what led me to write this book about accountability, which is from my heart, is to help people understand accountability is not a bad thing. Accountability is a good thing. Accountability gives you power and freedom and hope. That's how I want people to understand it.
What a powerful message. And I believe this is a very important one because many folks are not really accountable for their lives. And some even push the stuff to all of these things are happening to me, like you mentioned, and they're so far from the understanding of what about this thing is got to happen to for you in order for you to learn some things that will push you forward. You know, they're not really open to the blessings that are that are in terrible situations that they face and they pass through. So I got that. So let us begin with the very first question. All right. Can we talk about the five things that great CEOs do? Can you talk to us about that?
Yeah, absolutely. And this really came from the years of me walking with CEOs and watching their struggles and seeing the kind of things that they deal with. So when it comes down to the five things that I've seen successful CEOs do, they're always learning because the world's constantly changing. No matter what you're into, whatever your business is, the speed of change is remarkable. So if you're not learning, you're falling behind. And then they make decisions. They don't always make perfect decisions. They don't always make the right decisions, but they make the decision. And then as a result of that, which leads to the third thing, is they own it. Whether it's a good decision or bad decision, they own it. And they own the responsibility to make a decision. Not making a decision is the same thing as making a decision because you've decided not to make a decision, right? You see the way you decided. The fourth thing is that they pour into other people. Part of what makes us scale as a business owner to grow our business is to have others who will pick up and go with us in a way that helps do what we envisioned in our lives that we wanted to do. So you hire employees, you bring people on, but if you don't pour into them, if you don't teach them, if you don't equip them, you can't delegate. And if you can't delegate, you can't grow. So you have to be spending the majority of your time pouring into your team. And the last thing is that then they drive the results. They don't do the results. They don't do the work. They drive the results. They're pouring into people. They're creating opportunities. They're challenging. They're having vision, and they are responsible to drive the results through the people and the processes that they create. Those are the 5 things that I've seen great CEOs do.
I got that. I got that. And I believe that's gonna make the listeners, check their lives for the ones who are CEOs to see if they are part of the great CEOs. And if they are not, I believe after listening to you, they would make some adjustment. I got that. So, I mentioned earlier, I said most folks are not accountable. So I wanted to ask, why do you think people are not accountable? Can you talk to us about that?
Yeah. Yeah, I think most people think they're accountable, but they're really not. At best, they're being responsible, which is different than accountable. Responsible means you showed up for work. That's your job. You get a paycheck, you show up. But accountable means you try hard and you care and you think about, hey, we should probably do this, even though it's not my job. Look, the printer's out of paper. Why don't I just put some paper in there? It's not my job. Doesn't matter. We all use the printer. We're going to need paper. So the kinds of things that you start to step up from just existing to caring, to thinking, to be proactive in your role, that is accountability. Or just let's say raising your children. Having a kid is now you are responsible for this human. But being accountable means that you think, well, what do I want them to turn out to be like? Are they getting good grades? No. Well, then I should help them. I should get them a tutor. I should work with them. If I don't know how to do it, I should find a friend. Whatever the vision of what your life and your business is that you want, you are still driving that effort. And so those people who are just existing and doing the bare minimum, they are thinking themselves as accountable when at best they're just being responsible. And I want people to see that if you want the life you want, or the business, or the marriage, or the health that you want, it requires that you do something, that you own it, that you're the one driving it to get the results you're looking for.
Wow, I got that. That reminds me of a particular movie where that particular worker, he saw the leakage, the
Man, I was
field was
that
leaking
bad.
and
You left
okay.
me here.
Yeah. So that particular worker, he saw the leakage, all right, the field was leaking and he just ignored it because he said, that ain't my work, that ain't something I'm paid to fix or do. Then he ignored it. Now to cut the story short now, something happened and the leakage everything caught fire and some stuffs got burned, some very important documents and all got burned. And later the
Yeah.
incident after it occurred, he started saying things like, and I saw it. I just ignored because I felt that ain't my business. Oh man, what did I just do? So I get your point when you say we have to be accountable. Yeah. And you just made me understand the difference between being responsible and being accountable. I got that. So let us talk about the steps now. All
Cool.
right. For folks who have heard you speak and they be like, okay, Robert, you've just exposed how bad my behaviors are. And now I really want to take steps to being accountable. What are some steps you can share for folks like that who want to be accountable?
Yeah, this is the outline that we present in our book, Nobody Cares Until You Do. And we created this book as a workbook for you to understand the freedom and power that comes with accountability. It's not a bad thing, it's a good thing. And so when you take accountability for everything in your life, you gain the power to change everything in your life, to have the life you really want. And so when we see that we're accountable for something, the first thing we do is we blame. We blame our parents, we blame the government, we blame whatever, or we make excuses. Well, this wasn't my fault, I didn't know, or hey, it's not in my area of responsibility. So with these excuses and these blames, all they do is make us mad and they hold us back from ever changing anything. Or the other thing we do is we say, well, I can't do anything about it. I don't have the ability. I don't have the time. I don't have the money. All these things that we then hold ourselves back from being what we want or doing what we want because we self-impose these restrictions. When you say I can't, you really should be saying I won't. I won't do this. And we talk about this in the book that we sold our house and started over because we owed so much money. We were so heavy. We owed $90,000 in debt. And it was ruining our lives. And so we sold our house. But people would say, well, I can't sell my house. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. You don't want to. I didn't want to, but I wanted to get out of debt. And so I made that decision. And then the fourth thing we do is that we wait and hope. Maybe next year it'll get better. Maybe my marriage will get better without me talking about awkward things. Maybe my health will get better, even though I'm not changing anything I do. All these things that we think will somehow magically get better, they don't, they get worse. And so those four things hold us as a victim. But at some point, when you look at your life and you go, I don't like my this, I don't like my marriage, I don't like my kids, I don't like my health, I don't like my finances, whatever you don't like. And that's why we put an assessment on the website. You can go to nobodycaresbook.com. You can take the assessment for free. We don't ask for your personal information or anything. It's in the book, but we want to give it away for free if people want to. So when you take this assessment, you look at your life and you go, I'm not happy with this. Okay, now what are you going to do about it? And what we say in the book is that when you get to a place finally where you say to yourself, look, nobody cares. Nobody cares if I'm fat, broke, unhappy with my marriage, have a horrible business. Nobody cares until I do. But when I care enough to do something about it and I own it, now I have the power to do anything I want to do about it. And that's where you go on the journey of being a victor and not living life as a victim. And then we walk you through that in the rest of the book about how to make a plan, how to go embrace the hard things ahead of you and pursue the life you really want and surround yourself with other people who will help you get it done.
Wow, I got that. Okay, so how then can we make our employees accountable?
Yeah, nobody can make anybody accountable. That's one of the things we teach in the book is that nobody can make anyone else accountable. We can, though, for our employees or for our kids or for anyone in our world, we can create a world where they want to be accountable because they look at you and they see how you're doing so great because you own it. You don't play the victim role. You don't complain about the things that happen. You do something about the things that happen. And by you modeling as a leader how you treat people, how you face problems, how you plan for things, how you proactively lead and create a world that's going to have the results you want, that's accountability. As you do it, your employees will see this is how we roll, this is how we treat people, this is how we handle things. And for those people who just don't want to do that, they won't be working there very long. They'll go somewhere else. They'll go do another place where they can be unaccountable and feel free to goof off with their responsibilities. But you modeling it is the only way that you'll ever get other people to truly be accountable.
I got that. Trying to lead by example, modeling. I got that because this stuff is very important, even for parents too. They want their kids to be loving, and
Yeah.
they are not even showing it. They're not loving. They want their kids to be generous, but they aren't even practicing generosity. I got that. It's a very
Right.
insightful and special moment with you on the show, Robert. I love that. Okay, we have two more to go. All right. So we've talked about. Okay, let's talk about overload now. So how can people avoid overload?
Mm. This is important because if you're going to live the life you want and you're going to pursue it, you have to create a world where you're not on overload. Overload is where you make bad decisions. It's where you live in stress and worry and frustration. And you have to create a world where you have room for things to go wrong. And so the concept of margin in business, we talk about profit margin. And it's how much is left over once we spend all the things we have to spend to get to the revenue. Well, in your life, there is margin. So in your time, your finances, your health, and your emotion, I teach my clients to focus on creating margin in their lives so they don't go on overload. If you book your life on your calendar of meeting, phone call, lunch meeting, dinner meeting, that's on you. You created that, but you're overloading yourself. So when anything goes wrong, like an employee problem or a client calls with a problem or a machine breaks down, whatever it is, if you book yourself so full, that's your choice. And people say, well, I have no choice. No, That's not being accountable. That's blaming. That's making excuses. Don't do that. You have your calendar. It's your life. You decide what time you get up and what time you go to bed. Some people stay up till 11 o'clock watching Netflix when they should go to bed at 9 o'clock, get a good night's sleep. Some people decide that they're going to overload their schedule with things that they're just trying to do too much. So we are in charge of our lives, and we make decisions that we can prevent overload by not overloading our schedule, by not overloading our finances. Don't spend more than you make. There's a simple rule. Put some in the savings account every time you get a paycheck. And then you're not overloading your finances. So when the washing machine breaks down, you freak out and you've got this big problem. And now you go into debt on a credit card to pay for the things that you can't afford. Same thing with your health. Get a good night's sleep, eat healthy food, drink less, smoke less, whatever your thing is. Do your body well so that you are not overloading your body. And all those three things overload our emotions. And when our emotions are overloaded, we're mean, angry, not nice to people, and we don't make good decisions. So if you want to be a good leader and a good parent and a good friend or just a good human, don't live your life on overload. Create margin in your world so you can do that. Hopefully this will all edit out and be fantastic.
Okay, Robert, are you still there? Sorry.
Yes, I am.
Okay, so in order to bring this to an end, Robert, what would you like to leave the audience with, like a final thought? And to those who would like to reach out to you, learn more about what you're doing, you've actually opened our eyes to amazing stuff today, and it's amazing, and it resonated with them, and they'll love to learn more. How can that be possible?
Yeah, sure. The thing I would like to challenge people with is don't be lazy. I don't think we think of ourselves as lazy, but when you really look at things and you know what you're supposed to do and you don't do it, that's lazy. If your dentist tells you to floss every night and you don't floss, it's because you're lazy. And if you know you're supposed to save a certain amount of money or you're supposed to do your job a certain way and you don't do it, you can have all the excuses you want, but you're basically lazy. And if we start identifying the lack of excellence that we have in our life as laziness, I think it's offensive. And maybe we need to be offended a little bit more so we make the right decision. It's only us that we're trying to impress with the life we live. Nobody cares. You just need to live your life right for yourself and to be diligent with what opportunity God's given you. But don't be lazy. Really look at your life and say, what should my life look like? And then go chase that. So if you want a book that will help you figure out how to stop being a victim, how to face the challenges you face and win, you can go to nobodycaresbook.com. And you can see videos that we created that explain the chapters. You can get a copy of the book there. You could download a couple chapters for free. You can fill out a satisfaction assessment and start your journey of really identifying where is my life not the way I want it, and then really decide what am I willing to do about it. And I'd love to get emails from people if they want to send me messages. There's a contact sheet. Tell me your story, share your satisfaction assessment. Let me see what your journey looks like, and I'll encourage you as you do it.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I feel like not being accountable has been an ancient problem, because I remember vividly when that first man in the Bible pushed all of the blame. He pushed the blame to his wife. He said, "It
Yeah.
ain't me. That ain't my fault. I know nothing about it.
Yeah.
It's a woman you gave me. She did it." So I'm grateful for folks like you who are bringing solution to this problem. And I really love what you're doing, Robert. Thank you so very much for blessing us, for sharing this amazing stuff with us. And that part where you mentioned that there's a difference between being responsible and being accountable. I felt that. Thank you so very much, man.
Now, thank you for letting me be on your show.